This an all-out blitz, real hard hits, them other podcast trash, we gon' make them all quit. We cover all the topics with intelligence and logic. I know you wanna score, but ID gon' stop it. We from Texas, so that mean that we Texans. Breaking down the X's and O's, our profession. No complaining, just training, you see the progression. They had a Pro Bowl for talk shows, we get selected. We gon' celebrate every win like a birthday. Ray J with the news, first with all the updates. Spin move on the competition, yeah, we juking them. You not really in touch if you not tuning in. This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown, we not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they bout to stampede.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Texans Fan Battle Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Matthew Briggs, and always I got my amazing trio. First off, let's start off with Mr. VT.
What's going on, guys? It's the Brown Chubby Bear, aka VT.
And as always with me, I got my A1 since day one, Mr. Crenshaw.
What do you do?
And guys, we have a special guest in the building. I'm kind of surprised it took us this long to get him. If you listen to Sports Radio down there in Houston, you know this guy. We got Mr. The Show himself, Ron Hughley. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. So before we move forward, so y'all just letting this man go by Brown Chubby Bear. This where we at, fellas. That we just go. I mean, he said with pride too. Brown
With pride.
Chubby Bear, baby. Hey, that's the only way you got to do it.
If you hit a story behind that, you'll see why he's called Brown Chubby Bear.
There's a story behind it.
He has a great story behind it.
Go ahead, VT.
You want to hear the? All right, I'll say the quick story. So, this was based on. There's a show called Scrubs, and with Scrubs, there's two guys that are best friends. One of them's white, one of them's black. The black guy is actually called. The white guy calls the black guy Brown Bear, and because I was chubby, I was called the Brown Chubby Bear, and so. So that was the name, and my friend passed away, so I've never changed that. So me and him were like joined at the hip, and I've had this username like online name since like 2007, and I'll never change it. But I say with pride, Brown Chubby Bear.
That's right. So you was Donald Faison in this is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Yeah, you Donald Faison in this Scrubs. I got you. Okay.
Very
all
underrated. Right. Very underrated actor, I might say. I love that dude. That dude's hilarious. All right, well, let's kick it off. Let's talk some NFL news. All right, well, Adam Schefter announced today that there is no trade value or trade talks with the 49ers about Trey Lance, that Brock Purdy is QB1 and Sam Darnold is QB2. Ron, I'll start with you. Is this kind of surprising to you or – nah.
Yeah, I think it's insane. I don't understand it. Look, there was something that caused Kyle Shanahan to say, "Hey, I'm gonna move heaven and earth." I didn't got into the Super Bowl, I didn't got into NFC Championship games, but clearly that position isn't good enough, and I'm gonna move and trade 2 first-round picks, really 3 when I swap mine. 3 first-round picks involved in it. And I'm gonna watch him play like 2 games, and I'm not gonna give him a shot after that to Brock Purdy, the last pick in the draft. I don't know, boy. I don't know if Trey Lance is showing something behind closed doors where he ain't good enough. He don't seem like his head is on the shoulders right or whatever. It don't make sense to me because I just don't understand why you move that much, go up to do everything you did to go get him to have Brock Purdy as your starter.
It's crazy, right? Chris, what about you? What do you think?
I agree with Show. Like I said, they moved heaven on earth. They traded all that. I mean, he's been injured, which is unfortunate, but he still should be QB1 just because Purdy did what he did and limited amount of snaps. And I know that was a VT guy last year. He was really, really pushing that guy. I'm not sold on him. I still think Trey is the better player out of all 3 of them. Well, the other 2 quarterbacks. So it's kind of crazy. You know, a lot of Texans fans wanted Trey Lance over the offseason. Oh, yeah, we should trade for him. D'Amico this, D'Amico that. But I don't know, man. I think he's a good player. He just, unfortunately, just stay injured.
All right. Well, BT, what about you? Like Crenshaw said, we know you're a Brock Purdy guy, so.
Yeah, I'm a Brock Purdy guy. I'm not surprised that he is QB1. What I am surprised, though, is that there's no trade value for Trey Lance.
Right. That's
You
crazy.
would expect with the amount of investment that the 49ers made, and a lot of people do respect the decisions that the 49ers make. So you would think with that alone that you would have some trade value out there where a team like Tampa Bay or someone would be like, hey, if they don't want him, we'll give him a shot. But I find it interesting that they haven't had a single talk with another team. That to me is crazy because whether I don't like him, I don't think Trey Lance is better than Brock Purdy at all. But you can't tell me that he's not going to be the right person for somebody, or at least a stopgap for another team. To say there's zero trade value, that shocks the hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean it's real late in the game though right now. I mean we about to get to training camp, and everybody's kind of got their quarterback situation together, and he's a third overall pick, so it's going to be he ain't going for no fifth. He's going to be a pick. I just for the life of me how it's not even competition. Like I don't know if he's a good player. My man Crenshaw says he thinks he's a good player. I don't know if he's a good player, but I sure think I want to figure it out. Right. If I gave up 2 first-round picks, and I'm sure not going to say, you know what, Brock Purdy, hey, that's gonna stop me. Like that, I mean, like he's gonna be Tom Brady. And now the slap in the face is Sam Darnold. All right, I know Brock Purdy did some stuff last year, but I can't even get to I can't get Sam. Nah, that's I don't understand it.
Yeah, that to me is surprising too. I have to agree with you on that one. Well, let's move on to the next subject. Last season, after the draft, there was some news about San Diego State's punter, Matt Ariza. He had gotten some trouble. Well, now that is all clear, his name is cleared. He attends to sue attorney Dan Gillian for defamation. Ron, will he find a place in NFL, or do you think it's a wrap?
No, it's a wrap. Nah, man, he ain't worth it. He's a punter. And right. If the story is completely true, just me, I mean, I find it hard to believe that, like, man, he slid out of here and he's just a victim all the way through. Maybe the case or not, but ain't nobody taking no chance on no punter like that. No, he don't play a valuable enough position to even take a chance on that.
Yeah, I mean, if he was a quarterback or maybe a receiver, running back, I mean, it might be a little different, right? But a punter, that's pushing it. Crenshaw, what about you?
I'm gonna say this right here. He is just like how I like my steaks. He's well done.
Yeah, he's done.
BT?
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree that he's done, but this is why I think that his lawsuit has merit, because defamation, you got to show damages, and he can clearly show damages because he can say what he would have gotten throughout his career. So I think he definitely has a case here. I think he's going to walk away with a decent amount of money, depending on how much, how far did this go? They're going to go after the attorney. How rich is that attorney? They're probably going to go after that woman as well. But yeah, unfortunately, through no fault of his own, really, because everything was consensual. He lost his entire career. And you're right, he's a punter. He didn't do anything wrong necessarily, but who is going to take that flack and that bad PR to have a punter? Like, that's just not going to happen. So he's done, but hopefully he walks out with a couple million at the very least.
Yeah, for sure. Well, going from one troubled guy to another, Tyreek Hill reported yesterday hit in North Miami Beach, hit an employee at a marina, hit supposedly him in the back. I've heard reports that the guy's not pressing charges. We don't know yet. Ron, is he going to miss some time or?
Yeah, he's interesting. We want to also just come out and just say thank goodness it was a man this time that he'd like to put his hands on.
Yeah. Not a woman or a child,
I'm kidding when I say thank goodness, but I don't know. He's interesting because to me, really, it's not that big. This isn't a big thing, but for Tyreek and in this vein, nothing's not a big thing, right? He came into the league with issues. He had the situation I covered every day with the issues with his son, that he was accused of, and the situation with the previous woman who he had the incident with. So anything that is violent or anything like that, he's not just a regular person, because he does come in with a history. So I don't think they'll do anything. It's been a while since he's had any issues. I don't think they'll do anything, but I mean, you can't rule anything out. He is not just somebody who just all of a sudden for the first time got into it with somebody and just say, oh man, he got into it. This is a normal thing. We can see it happen. No, he's got a history.
Right. All right. BT?
Yeah, it's because of his history that this matters. Because for most people, what they said, it seems like, is that he got into a little bit of an argument with somebody and he hit him in the back of the head. Now, we don't have the details of how hard, but I'm going to imagine, it was a dude and he hit him in the back of the head. Doesn't sound like the dude went down, broke any teeth when he fell or anything. So it seems like it's a minor, a minor thing. But yeah, because of his history, this matters. I don't think he's going to, as of the way it looks right now, I don't think he's going to miss any time or anything. I don't think it looks big enough for him to do that. Yes, he's a multiple offender, but what he did in the past with his kid and, when he was pregnant girlfriend and stuff like that, that's way different from what it seems like this is. I think this pretty much goes away for the most part.
All right, Crenshaw.
Yeah, I agree with VT and Show on it. I guess the only thing, if maybe we get footage of it comes out, maybe they might make it look worse, but I think he's going to give a guy season tickets, slap on the wrist, and that's it.
Yeah, because whatever happened to that guy that Devontae Adams put his hands on? You never heard anything? Did they say
he got money. Yeah. He got a little action.
Yeah. See, I think that's probably what's going to happen. Like, here you go, guy. My bad. Here you go. Here's something for your pain. But who knows, man? It's the NFL. Anything can happen, right? They done some stuff for a lot less. So who knows? Well, guys, let's go on to what we're here about, and that's the Texans.
You ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 stick. You can get high with me. That's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride.
All right. Well, first off, let's talk to you about a hot topic right now. Colin Cowherd has came on his show and said that C.J. Stroud will be nowhere near Dak Prescott's level because he did not face the same adversity as Dak. Paul Gallant and Cole Thompson both Twitter clapped him on Twitter, along with some others. Ron, I'll start with you. You're in that line of work. Well, what do you think of this? Is he speaking out of his ass, or is this? What do you think?
I don't think he's speaking out of his ass. Now, he doesn't know. I mean, if it's strictly on the Dak Prescott thing, like, man, hey, if C.J. Stroud's going to be Dak Prescott, that's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, Dak Prescott is a guy that is consistently in the playoffs, that gives his chance somewhat of a team to win, his team a chance somewhat of a way to win. Now, you got to build a lot more around him, but I mean, there are a lot of guys that have been drafted in the first round that wasn't Dak Prescott, a guy that got a second contract. So I don't think it's that wild. The part I have issue with Colin is the Ohio State bullcrap. That's garbage. Like, the whole deal of because he wore an Ohio State Buckeye jersey and there hasn't been success in the league with Ohio State quarterbacks outside of the second half of Justin Fields' season last year. That's silly to me. I can't get with that. I can even understand if you say Ryan Day stuff. But hell, there are quarterbacks in the 1970s that play for Ohio State. What the hell does that have to do with him? But the Dak thing, I don't think that's crazy to say. You know what? I look at C.J. Stroud, and if you had to make me guess, would he be good as Dak Prescott? I think Texans fans hope he better. He should. You hope he does. Where you drafted him, he should be. But I don't think it's crazy to say that, all right, man, I don't know if he's going to be as good as Dak, because Dak is a good quarterback in the league.
Especially his rookie year, right? I mean, Dak's rookie year is probably arguably one of his best years. So, I mean, if we get the same production out of CJ Dak did his rookie year, I'll be okay with it. I mean, that helps us with what 6, 7 games easily. So I mean, I'm down with that. BT, what about you?
So I think that he started out with a little bit of a point and then completely failed to land the plane. And I think that's honestly, he's just lazy. And let me explain. So he went off by saying that the reason why Dak was able to be successful is because he dealt with adversity. Him being a late round pick and then was able to go to a situation in Dallas where they weren't picking first or second overall when they got him. So they were a better squad. You know, they had a solid defense, had weapons around him, had a decent coach already set up, well, not a rookie coach, etc. That part, like that all makes sense. That's actually logical and factual. But he went on to say that CJ Stroud has never dealt with adversity. Now, I know that CJ Stroud had a top O-line. He had some of the best wide receivers in college. But the guy didn't have his father around him. His father was in jail. He was almost homeless. JSN's father and parents had to go out and buy him stuff so he could continue to play. To say this guy did not deal with adversity is ridiculous. Now let's focus back on Ohio State football. Quinn Ewers was going to take his job. There was a lot of other people that they brought in to take his job, and he won it every single time. That's not adversity. So in his personal life, in his football life, in his lifestyle at home, he's been through adversity. I understand he's been in a great situation at Ohio State, but I feel like he could have taken 30 seconds and just researched this before he opened his mouth, and he would have made a much better point. A shout out to Paul Gallant and Cole Thompson for setting him in his place. I don't know if you saw those tweets, but they were definitely on CJ's back because they were right. Like, how do you just completely avoid the fact that the adversity that he had to deal with was way more than anything that Dak had to deal with when it comes to actual personal life? Like, that's just lazy reporting, if you ask me. Way lazy.
Kershaw, I see you over there about kind of like licking your chops. You got something to say? What's your thoughts on it?
No, it just when VT was talking about the fathers and all that. That just basically my whole entire hood where I came from. So that happens all the time right there. But I mean, Colin, Colin being Colin, a lot of the shit he said was right because Ohio State quarterbacks haven't been good in the league. So hopefully Coleridge, CJ, for those don't know his real name, be the outlier here, and show that, hey, I'm gonna be the guy to set the tone. That's the reason why last year me and VT had a debate about CJ and Bryce Young. And I wanted Bryce Young because of that. He'll face adversity. He faced better teams, but everybody was afraid of his size. But I was like, well, shit, his size is small, but no pause. His size is small, but I feel like he know he's gonna come in day one and command everything. But we got CJ now, so I'm okay with that. But it just, like I say, Colin being Colin, like I said, I don't really see nothing he said was wrong. I think he was right about most of the stuff. Maybe 90% of the stuff. That might be a hot take right there.
Yeah, I love the passion from you, VT, but I think we want to separate some things here, right? Like if you're talking about off the field adversity, I don't think that's what Colin was talking about. I think Colin is talking about that dude was at Mississippi State, and he was the one dragging that team in his senior year, his last year there. They drug that team where they were a top 10 team in the middle, pretty deep into that season. He didn't have any other extra NFL skill position guys or other guys that are in the league that can help him compared to, yes, he had a battle with Quinn Ewers, but or however the hell you say that cat's name, who's about to lose his job to Little Manning. But he had a battle with him. But, I mean, he's been the quarterback for 2 years with a team that's had a great offensive line, that's had the best wide receivers in college football, as we're seeing them sprinkled all over the league. Since that LSU Joe Burrow team, we hadn't seen that amount of receivers on one team. And he gets to the league, and it's Davis Mills in his way. He's going to get the job. He's the number 2 overall pick. He don't got to fight and really battle for his job. When Dak got to the Cowboys, there was no thought that he was going to be the starter. That was Tony Romo's job. He got the job due to injury. So their path of adversity is not really comparable. Like when you say the homework, like if you want to say the off the field stuff, okay, I can give you that. Although Dak will then chime in and say, I've been dealing with my mother who had cancer and who passed away on me. That's a different set of adversity as well. Right. Not to say anything different there. But anyway, to go to on the field, like their paths to the NFL were completely different in what they dealt with in college. And I think that's what Colin is talking about there in terms of adversity.
All right. I mean, now that you break it down, that makes more sense. And I mean, you're right. Prescott did fight for his life come to football. Even at you're right, Mississippi State didn't do nothing to help that man at all. So it was crazy to see how successful he was there in Mississippi State.
And also getting drafted to Dallas, that's a lot of adversity because if you don't show up there, they're going to boo the hell out of you. And once Romo got hurt, he came in, they went on that run. I think the guy didn't throw an interception for like 7-8 games. He had a wonderful rookie year. So I like that. I think top 10 quarterback, man. I like him.
Listen, I like Dak a lot. I think his rookie year is fantastic. We were actually debating this in one of the chats. Like, some people call Dak mid, and some people think that Dak is actually a good quarterback. I personally think that Dak's a good quarterback, but he's being held back by play calling. McCarthy making up, having these stupid play calls back to back when they're going in the playoffs and making these stupid things. Let's put Zeke at center. Let's call this play when you have 4 seconds left. I mean, I don't put it all on Dak. I think a lot of it has to do with the play calling, but I do think Dak is very talented, and I do think that if CJ Stroud becomes Dak like his rookie year, I think most fans would be very happy. What really kind of pissed me off, though, is I understand there's a difference between on the field and off the field stuff, but the other thing is that he's talking, like you said, Ron, about the whole thing where just because you come from Ohio State doesn't mean that you can't be successful. I mean, look at, Josh Allen in Wisconsin, Texas Tech and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, if we go down the list, you can see how many quarterbacks you would never think that, good quarterbacks don't come from here. And you've got 2 of the top quarterbacks coming from schools that no one ever thought that would ever make it in the league, let alone be a top 5 quarterback. So I think that overall, whether it's you could say that, yeah, he wanted to separate the on-field with the off-field stuff, but even just talking about the way you're looking at schools, that's lazy. You evaluate quarterbacks for who they are, because once you're on a team, you play the schedule you play with the line and the receivers that you have, right? You can't say just because this dude is from this school, he's either going to be successful or failure. That to me is lazy.
Yeah,
but like you said, Ohio State has all the best talent in that conference out of Michigan. So you can say that. And then
why don't you say that about Joe Burrow?
But Joe Burrow, he didn't play a snap there in Ohio State though.
No, I'm talking about Joe Burrow when he had all the receivers, right? He had
but he was an SEC though.
I'm simply saying that if you are going to call out CJ for having an awesome roster, you got to say the same thing about Joe Burrow, and no one does. You only call out Ohio State. I mean, not you personally, but people only call Ohio State over and over and over again.
It's just because they haven't had a successful quarterback yet. And another thing too, Patrick Mahomes, he went to Kansas City. Andy Reid, great offensive mind. Your boy went to Buffalo. What's the coach in New York right now? Who's
Brian Daboll?
Yeah. So CJ's here. He got a rookie coach defense. Then he got a rookie OC. We don't know nothing about this guy, so of course you're gonna say that. Now, if we had Andy Reid here with CJ, I don't think Colin would say the things he said, because for a fact, this guy's going to be good.
Ron, what are you thinking?
No, I just for me, and that's why I started off the statement that the Ohio State portion. When anyone brings that up, that is not one that I can roll with. I understand Ryan. The thought behind is Ryan Day's offense he has such control of the offense that he's making so many calls for quarterbacks that they don't have to do a whole lot. That's one thing, but they even move it past Ryan Day, and they move it through John Cooper in the 90s and other guys and when Woody Hayes and stuff like that. They move it to that, and that is silly to me. Like, to your point, Crenshaw, Patrick Mahomes, I watch him every day. I don't give a damn if he went to the Bengals, if he went to the to the Jets. To the Lions, that dude was going to be good.
Now we can't say that. We can't
and
say
listen,
that.
I'm not going to say Andy had play a big part of it. I'm just saying that they wouldn't have, because before Mahomes, there were no successful Big 12 quarterbacks. It wasn't just Texas Tech; it was Big 12 quarterbacks. He would have broken that mode. But yeah, I am more in line of, hey, let's let like certain dudes just have it and don't have it, and let's judge them by that.
Yeah, I mean, you can pick any school as just an anomaly, right? Like not every player that plays for a certain school is going to be a good quarterback. It just doesn't happen like that. It's very rare. All right, so moving on. Some love for Derek Stingley this offseason. DB coach says he's gotten way bigger paws, but has not lost no speed. And Antonio Cromartie says he loves Sting, doesn't get the love he should get. Ron, are you hearing the same thing? Is Stingley looking like the quarterback we were hoping for?
Hey, look, he looks the part. All right, I've gotten a chance to see him a little bit out at off-season workouts, and he looks good, man. He looks good, and they need him to be. The big thing with him is just health, is the injury situation. That's right. The big thing with him. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, hey, if he's healthy, look out. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I was one, and I won't, pat myself on the back, but I was one that I believed more in the Sauce Gardner, and I thought he could work in any kind of defense. And then we got to see what he did as a first-team All-Pro this year as a rookie. I'm not certain. I'm not going to sit here and say if he's healthy, he's going to match that. But if he's healthy, he has every single tool that you need. And one thing that I think he's gotten too much of a pass on is he's got way too much blame to me towards Lovie Smith, right? I honestly, I don't think Lovie put him in the best possible positions. I don't think that. But, hey, dog, you got his skill and talent. At some point, you got to make a play. Like, you got to do, like, you have to do something to show me, like, all right, man, I might not be in the right position all the time, but I'll go out and make a play. And it's just rarely did he ever even show up, like you notice he was out there, that he made his presence felt. And I don't just attribute that all to the type of defense that Lovie put together. So I think he's got all the tools, but I think he's riding a little bit on Lovie Smith, this Lovie Smith, that. I want to see this dude make plays because he's had that kind of ability.
All right. BT?
So I slightly disagree with you there. I think that he definitely has all the tools. I think that, yes, health has been his biggest issue. What I'm very happy with is he took that seriously and decided that he needed to put on weight, and he looks a lot bigger. Yeah, pause. But he looks gigantic. His legs, his arms, his upper body, he worked on it. He definitely was in there working on to make sure that he was playing all 17 games. That's what I'm going to be happy with, first of all. Secondly, I do got to blame Lovie Smith. I think a lot of people look at the fact that he gave up 12 and a half yards per reception, basically per play. And a lot of it had to do with, cover two. When your assignment is to be in a certain area and they just say, okay, we'll just go up the seam. There's no one there. And you don't have any sort of mic that can cover at all. So you had no pressure really from the front seven. You had no real mic to speak of. All those yards get put on you. And so, if you look at the box score, and it all gets attributed to him. They kind of did a lot of the same stuff to Petrie too, by the way. But the point is that the front seven did not help the secondary. And so both Petrie and Singletary got hate when the hate was not deserved. Derek Stingley, I think, is going to have a pretty good season if he can stay healthy. And when I say pretty good, I think he's going to have a good 4 or 5 picks. And I think that, I don't know if he'll give up a touchdown, and I think he will be on par with Sauce. The biggest thing, in my opinion, was that there was no pass rush and there was a system that he was not used to. Right.
Let me ask you something, VT. You think if Sauce Gardner played in this system last year, it would look the same way? You think he would not make his presence felt? You wouldn't see him make some sort of plays in some way. You watch how physical he is. You think his season goes the exact same way that Derek Stingley was, like just being crippled by the coach?
I mean, Sauce Gardner played almost 50% man. Derek Stingley played in about 10%. That alone just boxes you in on what you're able to do. So, yeah, I think if Sauce came here, he would have played more games, so he had a better season overall. But, yeah, he would not have looked the way he looked like in New York at all. And that's definitively because of Lovie Smith.
Fair. But I guess we have different opinions of when I watch Derek Stingley, like I can think of like two plays.
Yeah, the whole game
in 9 weeks. He made a really good pick against Trevor Lawrence, and really Trevor kind of gave it to him, but he was there and he kind of read his eyes. Like I could think of a couple, like one or two plays that jump out where I'm like, hey, that dude made
that red zone stance against the Colts where he had like this
Alex Pierce sat down. That was hot.
But outside of that,
yeah.
Outside of that, man, like go watch that Denver game. Man, he was playing some man. And Cortland Sutton was absolutely doing him in.
Alive,
Go watch that Giants game. Like there was some, like he was in some coverage situations where I don't want to kill the kid because I think this secondary. I mean, like to me, that's arguably the most excited position group I'm into. I think they got a chance to be one of the best secondaries altogether in the league. But I think a lot of it does kind of factor on what Derek Stingley is going to be. And he's got, like, as I said, man, I agree with you. Lovie did not put him in the best positions possible. I don't think Lovie put Jalen Petrie in the best positions possible. Yep, Jalen Petrie flashed, though. Jalen Petrie made plays, though. Jalen Petrie, you can remember and recall things that he did. So I don't want to just I think there it is, like that pass a bit that Derek gets, because this year we shouldn't hear it, because I know a lot of zone corners, Richard Sherman, Rondé Barber, who've played in this system. Now, granted, they had better pass rushes, but they made their presence felt, and he didn't. Hell, Steven Nelson on the other side jumped off the page more when he played at times. So that's my only thing with Derek, man. It ain't all Lovey. He's still got to do something.
I hear there, but I also want to say, all right, we're talking about Petrie. If you notice or remember, when Petrie started going off, when they moved him off a strong safety to free safety, that move is what made him succeed. They were playing him wrong too. They just actually ended up changing where they played him so he could actually stand out. They didn't do that with Stingley. And you're right. Stingley should have probably played better in zone. Like one of the things that I said early on is, all right, I know he's playing a lot of zone, but perhaps this is it's a throwaway season anyway, so let him get his reps in and get better at zone, because no one's going to play man 100% of the time anyway. So you got to get your zone reps in. But the fact is that I think that Lovie Smith hobbled his development by not putting him in man enough. And now he has to almost – and the injuries didn't help. And now he has to really get up to speed in this offseason to really focus on what he can do this season. I think that this is in my opinion, this is the last ending of the so-called rebuild. And so in 2024, everyone's got to be on their A game, Stingley included. So this is the year where he's got to show up, because everyone on this squad has to be ready to get in the playoffs in 2024. If you're not ready to be in the playoffs, you're not in the squad in 2024. So him included, he's got to show up and do what he needs to do this year.
You agree? Sure.
I agree. He is a huge. I mean, the number 3 pick, he has to be special, and even more special because of the dude that was selected right behind him. You had the shot. You had the chance to take whatever corner you wanted off the board. Many people had Sauce rated ahead of you. The whole reason why people had Sauce rated ahead of him was his physicality and his ability to play. And that was the issue that bugged you with Derek Stingley last year. And the deal is, we know what can be done in this system, because Sauce Gardner played in that system that he's about to play in under Robert Saleh. So we know what can be done. No more excuses.
I agree with you.
Love the excuses.
I agree with you here. This year is a year of no excuses. If he doesn't show what he's got, I'm on board with questioning that pick. I will say so far, obviously we haven't seen any of the picks take a snap for overall. A lot of our picks have been questionable, right? When we talk about Stingley, Kenyon Green, and so I wasn't a guy that said, "Oh, Stingley had a great season last year." I knew he had a subpar season, but the reason why I'm very hopeful on Derek Stingley is because he wasn't given a chance, and the injuries just killed him. The whole thing, in my opinion, is that you have to be healthy, though. If he can't stay healthy this year, it's a cause for concern. That's where I'm going to start, really panicking.
Fair.
All right. Well, let's move on to the last subject before we go to our fan favorite. There's been a post going around, blowing up on social media about teams going last to first, and a lot of people was picking the Texans. Ron, what do you think? Is there a possibility the Texans surprising everybody and winning the division, or is it a pipe dream?
Oh, I think it's a pipe dream all day long. I really like Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville is a real team. I don't think they're a true Super Bowl contender yet. I think they're a year away. But that's a squad. They got a good coach, a Super Bowl winning coach. We saw how Trevor moved into what he did last year. So for me, it is hard for me to get the first or the last to first situation because of Jacksonville been in their division. But everything else, I think the Texans, it is completely in play that they compete with the other teams in their division. And with their schedule, the way it looks right now, you feel like it should be. But, I mean, we got to start being honest about where this crew is. I think there's some really good potential upgrades. I think the offensive line has a chance if Kenyon Green can be anywhere close to where you think he can be. I like their chances. I think I am really high on Dameon Pierce. I think I can see 1,300 yards from Dameon Pierce if he's healthy. Really high there. Like the addition of Dalton Schultz, but they don't have anybody on the perimeter that is an outside threat. And I think they're still going to struggle to stop the run this year. And we'll see about Will Anderson and guys like that. Jonathan Bernard, does he stay healthy? I still think they just have an experience and talent issue that's going to hold them back to overtake teams like Jacksonville and win the division.
Okay. Right. I mean, this is for, a team that needs to be better, not now, but a year or two down the road. So I completely agree with you, everything you said. BT, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this is the debate that's been going on Twitter. And I know some people are probably pretty upset with me because I'm a realist, but I'm an optimist at the same time. So to me, our playoff season starts in 2024. For me, I'm projecting a seven game win. And I think that's reasonable. I think that the schedule allows that, but we have far too many questions. I know that to be an actual playoff team. And I know, listen, as a Texans fan, we've had 3 years of suck. Ever since 2019, we've just been stuck in a rut. It's been hard to be a Texans fan, and you want to say, hey, this could be the, you want to have optimism. You want to be like, yeah, we can get there. And you know what? Have that optimism, because you know what? Miracle's going to happen. But if I'm going to be a realist and I'll say where I put my money, I would not bet that the Texans would be in the playoffs this year. It's not that we had a bad draft this year. It's that we have a lot of questions. Kenyon Green had a horrible season last year. He is injured now. Is he going to be ready to play? Who knows? Scruggs, he is a rookie. So you're going to have – I'm going to call Kenyon Green a second-year rookie because I don't know what else to call him. He had one of the worst rookie left guard seasons that I can remember in the past decade or more. Like, he was just horrible. So you're going to have two people on that line that aren't going to be up to speed right away. And we know that Stroud struggles when he's pressured, right? So he has a 72% completion rate when the pocket's clean. When he faces pressure, it drops to 42%. And he's also a rookie quarterback learning a new scheme in the NFL. That doesn't paint a very happy picture to me. So I see some struggles there. And Bobby Slowick is a rookie offensive coordinator, so he's going to struggle. And then D'Amico Ryans is a rookie head coach, so he's going to struggle. I mean, the whole thing is that there is lots of inexperience. On the defensive side, you're right about the interior of the D-line. How are you going to stop that run? Sheldon Rankins can't do everything by himself. Will Anderson's going to help, but stopping that run is going to be critical. And I still think that we have to get a premium D tackle. I think you do that in the draft or you do that in next free agency. I don't think there's anyone left right now to handle that. So I think that's going to be an issue. I think we're going to have a top 5 secondary, though. I'm saying that right now. I would actually put money on it, saying that we could have a top 5 secondary with Steven Nelson, Jalen Petrie, with Derek Stingley. I think Shaquille Griffin comes out if he's healthy. You've got Desmond King making plays out there, Jimmy Ward. That secondary, you're right, Ron, when you said that secondary is going to be strong. My worry is about the O-line. I know that we extended Tunsil. We extended Sheldon, Shaq Mason, Titus Howard. We will probably extend Titus Howard. But the interior of that line last year is what made the 24th ranked O-line. Our bookends were great. It was that interior that was horrible. We get up like 47 pressures. No, way more than that. But we gave up ungodly amount of pressures in the interior. And I fear that might happen again because of Kenyon Green and Juice Scruggs. So long story short is we have lots and lots of questions. That doesn't mean we're not going to be a better team to look at. We're going to move the ball. We're not going to be second to last in third down conversions. We're going to run the ball too. So we're going to be a fun team to watch. We're going to win a decent more games than last year, but we're not a playoff team yet. 2024, yeah, we're coming for that ass, Jaguars. This is your last year. 2024, we're coming for you.
Yeah, we're coming for that ass, huh? No, man, you just look at the AFC East stuff. I mean, if you just bring it down. If someone disagrees, you look at the AFC East. I don't think that the Texans are better than any of those teams: the Bills, the Dolphins, the Jets, or the Patriots. And I think one of them are going to add DeAndre Hopkins, and maybe one of them may add Dalvin Cook. In the North, I don't think you're better than Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, or the Browns. And if just being honest with those groups, I mean, that's 8 teams right there. We haven't even gotten to the Chiefs and the Chargers. So I mean, you look at that, you're just not there yet. But it doesn't mean like you're improved. You're not going to improve. No one's going to lose their jobs if the Texans don't make the playoffs. Somebody may lose their job. They win 3 games again. But nobody's going to lose their job at the Texans. It's about improving and getting better. Now, the part that is annoying for Texans fans, and I can hear the passion from you, I like to call him BCB. I can hear the passion from you, is the rebuild should have been faster than this. We shouldn't 3 years into after Bill O'Brien is fired that, now this is the year that we are trying to get the pump up year before the playoffs, right? It shouldn't be 4 years after that we're talking playoffs. And that's the problem with what they did the first 2 years in the rebuild.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. 110% wise words. All right. Well, one more section before we bounce out of here. This is a fan favorite where we get to ask you some questions, Ron. You cool with that?
Oh, man, let's do it.
All right. Well, since Crenshaw wanted to be a diva and left, now his power got knocked out down there in Houston. So I'll let a fan ask Crenshaw's question, and here it is. Ask Ron if the Chefs, I think he means the Chiefs, get special treatment from the NFL referees. Sounds salty, man. I mean, I can build a salt away from here.
Yeah, when teams are dominant and win, that's where a lot of people say. Who doesn't say that? With the Lakers, they get calls. Do the Patriots for years get calls? Do the Yankees get called? Right. Do the Astros get special treatment? Yeah, Jordan, the Bulls. No, that's what happens. It comes to the territory. No, I don't think so. And it just depends on. I always say that when you're a person that plays through refs, Leo, it is the way you're watching the game. Okay, because you can watch it from a Chiefs perspective and think, oh, they got away with a lot of stuff. Right? Like you can watch it from a certain perspective. Like many people are tripping about the holding call by Bradbury in the Super Bowl. I don't know what you're supposed to do if you see the free shot of the official who calls into the back judge and sees Bradbury pulling Juju's jersey from him. He may have pulled it and let it go. The free shot, I don't know how you can't throw that flag and you say let it go. So no, I don't think the Chiefs get special treatment. Now they have.
You even have Bradbury saying, "Yeah, man,
I did it.
yeah,
Now they have the best player in the sport that plays quarterback, and so he is probably protected maybe a little bit more than Davis Mills is. But I'm good with it, and I think everybody else is good with it. So I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, see, maybe, and this might be my opinion, but I think people, people can, like you said, Ron, he's the best player in the NFL by far, right? And Tom Brady got the same calls, and I think what people fail to realize is these guys' character. Like these guys are very respectable. They're very honorable. Well, I mean, I don't know Tom Brady about cheating, but towards other people, they hold up to respect, and I think that's why referees tend to more. You know what, Patrick, you're right. You know what, because of the respect that they carry. I'm right. I mean,
and they know they sell tickets. They want to keep
that
them on the
too,
field.
right? That too.
Yeah. Nothing is good about the NFL if Mahomes or Burrow or Josh Allen just get decapitated on a late hit. So yeah, they're gonna protect those boys.
110%. BT, I almost pulled her on and called you BCB. BT, what's your question for Ron?
Sorry, Larry calls me BCB all the time. So my question is, you talk about a lot of stuff, not just sports, and I always wondered if you ever felt like you wanted to have a second show, maybe a pop culture show, maybe something where you delved into not necessarily politics, but just the current affairs of the way things are going, because you do talk about things that sometimes are way outside of sports. And, and I just want to know, like, do you ever get that bug? Like, I just want to talk about this. This needs its own separate show.
Okay, absolutely. Sometimes I want to get the bug and talk about it within the show because I think people can handle it. But no, I mean, I've done some other projects. Me and my wife, we did a podcast together where we talked about a lot of marriage stuff or different things that encounter in relationships. And it was, it was good. It's good for our marriage actually to have those conversations out. They're floating around the internet world somewhere around. But no, yeah, man, I've got a lot of interest. Like before I did this, I was really into politics. I've worked on multiple mayor's campaigns in Kansas City. I've worked on a lot of things like that. My wife will tell you, I'll sit back and I'll just watch. Like nothing gets me going more than election season. Like I'm into that, and so love movies and everything. So yeah, man, I dabble. You may see something like that down the line, but
Jack of all trades, huh?
I try to. I mean, hopefully, I'm interested in a lot of things, and sometimes that comes out.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Well, Ron, I know me and you probably have different views. I live here in Kansas City. I know you said you used to live here. I don't love it here. Unless I was back in Houston. I miss my town. But I'm a chef up here, and as you can tell, I'm also a big fatty, so I love food. What is your go-to spot every time you're up here in KC?
Oh boy, kind of depends on what you need, what you like. So I'm really into Italian. So Italian is my favorite. You give me some pasta, I'll hurt myself. One of my spots is in Brookside. It's an area in Kansas City. It's called Bella Napoli. Pretty authentic.
Been there, yes, sir. Fantastic.
And, it is a spot of mine that I really like. My favorite barbecue spot there, LC's. I'm an LC's barbecue dude.
Wow.
By the crib where I grew up. But Bella Napoli, it's a spot. I'm coming there Saturday. Actually, I'll be there next week. So
All right. Well,
I figure,
if you got some time, you're more welcome to come up here to Gardner, Kansas, a little outside of KC.
in Gardner, I got you.
Yeah. I run a Blazers restaurant. I'll get your meal for free. I'll cook you some food, man.
Don't mess with me now. Don't mess with me on some free now.
I got you, bro. I got you. You come up here, I'll feed you. I'm not as good as them, but I'll feed you. You know what I mean? So, BT, you got any more questions for Ron?
I just have a quick one. I ask this question a lot. If you are going to work out and you want to get hyped up, what's the first song on your playlist?
God, I hate to say this to get myself going because this cat is, but there ain't nothing that gets me going. Like, you can't tell me nothing. Kanye, boy, I'll ride in there. And listen, he's going completely to the left and right, whichever way you want to go. But and that get right there, that'll get me going right there. That get me going.
There's nothing better than old Kanye, right? Like,
oh my goodness, man! Yeah. College dropout, late registration. That dude.
Dark Fantasy was one of I think underrated. To tell you the truth, I think that's one of those best albums. But yeah, love Dark Fantasy.
Yeah, no, I mean it. I think Rolling Stones has it as a top 100 record of all time. So album of all time. So yeah, that one was big time too. Yeah.
All right. Well, do you rock with Tech, or you're not a big Tech fan?
Oh yeah, I like Tech. I call him Aaron Yates by his real name. I like Tech. Yeah. Quick story, Tech Nine. I used to work at the shoe store called Just for Feet, and I was in high school. And he came in real late, and I was like $300 away from reaching the bonus. If you sold a certain amount, you would hit a $500 bonus. And it was like we closed at like 10 o'clock, and it was like 9:45. And he came in, I got him, and my man bought like 6 pairs of shoes, socks, all of them, spent about $600 and put me over the top. I told him a long time ago, I think we had him on the show. I told him, I was like, you don't remember me, but boy, you made me $500.
Back in the day, I was rich, man.
That was big for you, baby. Yeah, man. Tech is home, man. That was all we had.
That's one thing I do love about KC is Tech Nine. So, but guys, in the wise words of Crenshaw, this is the worst part of the show because it's the end. Ron, tell us where we can find your wonderful stuff and where we can find you on social media.
Oh man, you catch me, man. I do the show on SportsRadio 610 every day, 2 to 6. Clint Stoerner, my partner, The Drive with Stoerner and Hughley. You can catch us there. You can check on the podcast page as well on the Odyssey app. I do a Chiefs podcast. If you want to hear that, need to change the name of it, but it's Show and BK on the Chiefs, Arrowhead Pride. We do that once a week, and you can catch me on Twitter, everything Real Ron the Show, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, man.
All right. BT, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter at BrownChubbyBear. You can find my articles at fanbattlesports.com and on Spaces quite a bit. So if you want to argue about Texan sports and you don't want to just tweet at me, come on Twitter Spaces and we can argue there.
All right. I'll tell Crenshaw, since he's not here, you can find him at Fifth Ward Crenshaw everywhere. And you can find me at A1 Day 1 Texans. Also on Sunday nights on the AFC South Fan Battle. This week we'll have a Moby Okoye. So make sure you stop by and check that out. And guys, till next week, we'll have a wonderful week, and we'll see you then.
This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, because them boys